zone here. Both Maryland and the Justice Department are suing D.C. Water over the sewer line collapse that dumped an estimated 240 million gallons of raw sewage into the Potomac River. Both accuse the utility of gross negligence, claiming that it knowingly delayed needed repairs to the Potomac interceptor. Maryland now demanding millions in penalties in order for D.C. Water to pay for all environmental testing and cleanup. We've got our water expert here, Razgaitis, with us to kind of break down what this means. I mean, I was just down there over by Great Falls, and you can still smell sewage.
Well, 60 million gallons every single day flow through there. So when a pipe goes bad, it goes really wrong, and that's exactly what happened in February.
Yeah, and this is, we'll see what happens here because it's going to go through the court system. But clearly, I think when you look at the Potomac, it's gotten the worst grade that you can give it now. It's health, right? I mean, it was up to a B. It's now failing. We look at tomorrow as Earth Day, and just like the emphasis that we should be placing on Mother Nature and taking care of this natural resource that we all need. And yet it seems, as you talk about all the time, PFAS and lead are a huge concern for daily drinking water in the United States of America.
They're a massive issue. It shouldn't be. We're running off of a 100-year-old infrastructure, as well as guidelines that were established 30, 40, 50 years ago, and they are woefully inadequate. They need to be updated for today's issues and today's problems, and so that's one of the things we'll cover today.
I think when you talk about microplastics, and that's something that you and I have talked about a lot, and that seems to be a huge concern for you.
Well, the reason microplastics are such a big concern is it's not just bad for the environment. We've kind of gone from a period of time when it was like bad for the environment, bad for the sea turtles, bad for the dolphins, and those are all bad things. But it is absolutely catastrophic and destructive to human health. And so New England Journal of Medicine study came out and showed that people that had plastics in their carotid arteries had a 4.5-fold increase of heart attack, stroke, and death within 3 years. Average American has a plastic spoon's worth of plastic sitting in their brain. We get that through what we eat, drink, and breathe. So a lot of people reach for bottled water thinking, hey, I don't trust my tap water, so I'm going to go for something safer. But that something safer is really water with bottled water and bottled plastic in it that you're actually consuming, and it's crossing the blood-brain barrier, getting into your brain as well as your organs.
And I mean, if you look back at just, you know, an average middle-aged human, how much of that they've consumed throughout their lifetime, I think it speaks to, you know, the cancer rates in young people where they can't really figure out why it's so elevated. But there's got to be some tie to these forever chemicals and to the microplastics.
Yeah, well, I think, you know, we keep looking for like this one magic bullet. And the reality is, if we look at over the last 50 years, what we eat, drink, and breathe, PFAS, that's a big one. 200 million Americans have PFAS. It's a forever chemical, so once that chemical gets created, it's almost indestructible. But what happens is once it enters your body, it stays in your body 8 to 12 years. And so when you think about the accumulation of this and what it does in terms of metabolic health, reproductive health, particularly with infants, and plastics is another example, is the plastics problem gets worse as time goes on. And the reason is really simple. One, we're using a lot more plastics. It doubles about every 4 years in terms of our consumption. But the second is that microplastics turn into nanoplastics. So one piece turns into 2, 4, 8, 16. Now that it's in nanoplastics, it's crossing the blood-brain barrier. It's getting into organs. And so the plastics problem gets worse, which is why we've got to do something about it.
Yeah, it's so scary. And I think that most people are trying to do what's right, but, you know, we're also being educated with a different thing, and we're being sold and shop things that are being told this is good for you and this is not. Like, how should we consume water? If you're saying don't drink it out of plastic, is stainless steel good? Is glass good? Because then it's like, okay, but this is BPA free. It's not. There's so much information.
Yeah.
I think we're all confused.
I think this is really simple. So there's, you know, Earth Day, there's going to be 100 different things that people need to do or shouldn't do. I'm glad I'm not here talking about paper straws today because nobody wanted to hear about paper straws to begin with. But this is a really simple thing that people can do, which is stainless steel on the road, on the go. This is what I do when I'm at work or if I'm at the gym. I use stainless steel. It's almost impervious. It's basically indestructible. Glass at home. So that's important. Buy a bottle that you like. I got a couple props here that I can pull off if needed. But the second thing is that what you put into that bottle and what you're drinking is even more important than the cool brand of the bottle that you buy. And that's where you want to use reverse osmosis purification technology. So a fridge filter, a faucet filter, a pitcher filter, it's a little bit like using a lap seatbelt from the 1950s today, which we wouldn't do for ourselves or our kids. So reverse osmosis is what eradicates all of the pollutants, microplastics, PFAS, lead, pharmaceuticals, herbicides, and it makes it taste great. That's the most important thing. 70% of Americans are chronically dehydrated. If you want to just do one simple hack to look, feel, and perform better, drinking more water is the best thing that you could do. So if you have great quality water, you'll drink more of it.
How much until we get to that point? Because you talk about the fridge filter, the pitcher filter, that kind of became like an everyday thing in American families and households. Reverse osmosis, this is an expensive situation to kind of switch up your kitchen sink to do this.
Well, it depends on what system that you get. And so first of all, my day job, we do reverse osmosis machines for hotels, schools, gyms, corporations in the form of FloWater, but we don't do anything for the home. What I always advocate people do still is to get an RO machine for the home. You can do an under sink system. You can buy those for anywhere between $400 and $800 and get a really good system. You can get a countertop system that's plug and play. You fill it up like a coffee maker. It kind of purifies and manufactures your water. And those are $200, $300, $400. And so you can spend more than that. But when you look at what we spend on coffee and juices and beverages and our food budget, on a per day basis, this is some of the best money that you can possibly spend.
I think I know in the past the government has been, you know, and you don't always want the government involvement, but sometimes when you encourage people with rebates and give them a way to access this, it could be a thing that really changes how we drink our water in America.
Well, that's one of the things I hope is on the agenda.
All right, well, Raz, get to it. He's in D.C. with us here on the DMV Zone. We appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by.
Marina, great seeing you.
We'll be right back.